Krieg or Cadians? Hello everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Sprue review, and this one's quite a quick one. Yes, today we are looking at the all-new Krieg Command Squad and Krieg Heavy Weapons Squad. The Games Workshop have very kindly sent me early to build up and paint and review with all of you. Now, as some of you may know, if you've been following along on the channel, that I've been super into Astra Militarum, or the Imperial Guard, the last couple of weeks. So much so that our Monday stream has been renamed to the Militarum Mondays. And I've been enjoying myself thoroughly. And, well, as a consequence of that, I now have nearly a fully painted army. And this is in no small part due to the new Death Corps of Krieg stuff that's happened in the last 4 weeks? Something like that. I enjoyed the Krieg stuff so much that I actually went back and redid some of my Cadians just to bring them more in line with how I wanted them to look. And, well, we now have something that vaguely matches one another. We've got a lot of Krieg. But here's my question to all of you. Given as we now know what the entire breadth of the Krieg range is going to be, and already is now, is it enough? And the other question I'd like to put to all of you is this enough going forwards for the Guard? In the past we've had all kinds of things, you know. Catachans are still available in their old plastics, but there were things like the Mordian, the Steel Legion, the Talon, the Praetorians, the Vostroyans, Valhallans. There's been a whole lot of Guard regiments over the years, and, well, we are now at a point where we only have 3, but they are all in plastic, albeit one of them is very, very old plastic. So I think the main question here is that, given as what we have is essentially the contents of the army set and these two, is that a sufficient amount for the Krieg, and is that a sufficient amount of stuff for a regiment of the Guard? I mean, it's a lot more than some Space Marine chapters have, believe it or not. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. But honestly, I can't answer this question. I think it's down to you guys at home to figure out whether or not you're happy. All I'm here to do is show you whether or not it looks any good. So please do, if you can, answer those questions for me down in the comments. And if you've not already, please hit that subscribe button. We're hurtling our way towards 80,000 subscribers, and I'm desperate to get to 100k this year. That's why you're getting daily content at the moment. And also, I've been quite productive. And if you find this video useful, please do hit the like button. So, let's jump in and have a look at the Krieg Command Squad and the Krieg Heavy Weapons Squad. This is hopefully going to be one of the quickest and most concise Sprue reviews we've ever done here on the channel, because we've only got 2 things to look at. We've got the Astra Militarum Krieg Command Squad, which is what we're going to kick things off with, because, my goodness me, that is a hell of a headline. And, well, we have the Heavy Weapons Squad to come, but we will get to that shortly. So here's what you get in the box. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 whole miniatures, including a little servo scribe skull type thing. We get banner, medic, commissar, special trooper, thingy, officer, and comms specialist by the looks of things. It looks to me like there's a couple of little extra options as well up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we shall have to see what's possible within the kit, because I haven't seen enough optional pictures of this, and I'm excited. I'm very excited for this. I think it's gorgeous. So we'll get it open and we'll have a look together, shall we? It's going to be a real journey. This might be emotional. We'll have to see. Alright, so what do we have in the box? Well, we have ourselves... Ooh. That's it. So we got ourselves 1 and 2 sprues. There we go. And we have loose bases, but we have the new Death Corps of Krieg transfer sheet. There it is. I think that's the new one. I'm pretty certain that's the new one. I'll need to find my old one. Hang on a minute. Let me just have a look. So I can't find the one that I got in the army set, but that one was scuffed, as you will know if you watched that previous Sprue review. However, what I have found is one from the Kill Team box. That is the one that comes in the, well, current Kill Team box, of all things. And that's the one from 2021, and this is one from 2024. So there you go. This is the new one, and it's in good nick. It's not all sort of weirdly water damaged like my previous one was. So, happy days. I'm big into that. That's great. So, we get that transfer sheet. That was an adventure. So we'll just pop that out of the way. And then we have one. That looks like a 25mm to me. 2, 3, 4, 5 25mm bases by the looks of things. 132. And this one is probably a 25 as well. Yeah, it looks to be. So let's have a look. Let's see if I was right. See if my base guessing sizes works. 25 and 32s. Yes, we win. We win the prize. Okay, so inside the instructions, we have the Lord Commissar up first. Now, he does have a couple of options here. We have the Power Fist and the Plasma Pistol, or we have the Sheathed Power Sword and Pointing Imperiously. So that's really cool. Bodes well, straight off the bat, to have that there as an option. So we've got two different Lord Commissars in the box by the looks of things that we could potentially build. We then have the Veteran Guardsman. Oh, it's just a Veteran Guardsman, it's not an officer. Okay, so within that one we have the option for the Chainsword, the sort of Krieg close combat weapon, or the Power Sword, and then a Plasma Pistol, a Bolt Pistol, or a Las Pistol as well. We then have another Veteran Guardsman over here, where we have the option of a Bolt Gun. That's nice. Grenade Launcher, Melter Gun, Plasma Gun. Or a Flamer. No. Yes, Flamer. So this one could be built one of 3 ways. That's awesome. Well, one of 3, not one of 3 ways, one with 4 different types of weapons. 5 different types of weapons, in fact. So that's awesome. Probably go for a Plasma Gun, because, you know, I am a power gamer after all. We have our Medic, who doesn't actually have any options, and we have our Comms Specialist, who doesn't have any options again, and then we have our Banner, who also doesn't have any options. We have the Servo Scribes, which doesn't have any options, but then we do have things like these additional components over here, 74 to 81, where we have like things like a Grave Marker, which is awesome, some shovels, because Krieg. And, well, there you go. That's it. Lots of cool stuff on display right there. So it's not tons of different options, but there is some customizability in terms of, you know, guns and stuff. So that's nice. So let's have a look at these sprues, shall we? Okay, let's start with this one, because it's the small one. There it is. Just move these bases out of the way a little bit. Okay, so what do we have here? Well, it looks to me like we have our Medic body here, we have our Banner, we have what looks to be the Banner on here as well, and then the additional gubbins, as well as the Servo Scribe skulls things over here as well. So maybe it is divided in such a way that it's sort of all of your components should be in one area. We will find out in due course when we put the whole thing together, but firstly let's just kind of have a good long look at these. So we do have a body here where we have a sort of well, it's a peg basically. So you want to be careful not to cut that off. That's component number 74. That looks to be the one for, yeah, there you go, for this las gun here. So it's a nice guide peg for it to go in, which is great. We love that because it just makes it a little bit easier for it to be posed appropriately. So it's connected pretty nicely otherwise, here on the armpit and then here on the underside of the greatcoat as well. And we have what looks to be some sort of cantina or something like that, where we're connected on the underside of that. That's fine. The banner, we have 1 and 2 connection points on the flag itself, where we're connected along the edge, so that's perfect. It's nice and easy to smooth down. We have 1 here though on the banner pole, and 1 up here, and 1 here on the underside of the banner pole. So this is fine. This is okay. This one is going to be a little bit of a problem. We do have a mold line going across that as well, so that's interesting to see. It's pretty visible from up here. Seems to come off nice and easily though. It's going all the way along though, so do watch out for that. Might be a comment on the quality of these sprues, but there we go. So we want to be careful around here because you want to move with the curvature of the banner. So you want to smooth it down going this way across it rather than going that way, because otherwise you might kind of flatten it off if you apply too much pressure. So just watch out for that. We have another one of our backpacks that we've done a lot with over the last couple of weeks and months. Connected up here on the sleeping roll and on the underside of that canister as well. This is just about fine. The fact that there's only 2 connection points there makes it okay. So they are going to be in soft details though at the top here, and that's the upward facing area, so just watch out for that. Just make sure you get it and you get it nice and smooth. Don't gouge it too much because you always kind of see these being a soft brighter colour, something like Skeleton Horde or Agrax Earthshade. So it's worth pointing out, because if you kind of take too much off or you don't quite scrape it right, it will have that kind of scratchy quality or that sort of tea stainy quality to it, which we don't want to see on those bits. We have another backpack over here where it's connected on the top of a helmet just there, and also on the top of the backpack assembly as well, so this is okay. We have the medic's head here, which we don't actually have any options for. We can't put a full helmet on that one. That is connected on the side of the face in the gas mask. That's a big no-no. We don't like to see that. It's going to be quite a congested area where we don't want to have extra kind of texture within that, but we also don't want to, you know, get rid of what little there is on the side of the face. So you have to be really careful around here on component 30. Down here is okay, but really careful around there on the side, because again, you don't want to just kind of cut the entire side of the face off, because there isn't a spare face for your medic. This one is the helmet for the banner, as one would assume, and we're connected on the side of the head as well. There you go. As you can see, it's not great, it's not ideal, just because, you know, it's that rounded edge of the helmet into that kind of straight down section of the helmet is right there in the middle of the 2 of them, so just be careful with that. Kind of come at it from this direction with your knife or mold line remover rather than going the other way, that way, because, well, you'll end up kind of cutting into the rivet that's just there and also into the slope of the helmet, so just watch out for that. We have sort of the scribes thing here. This is all parchments connected twice on the parchment on the actual frontward facing parts of the paper where it's supposed to be smooth, so we're just going to have to be careful around there as well. And then we have all kinds of little bits and bobs scattered around here as well, so just kind of, you know, take them as you will. But what we must kind of quickly point out is this section over here. We want to clip here and then on the underside there, because we don't want to put any undue pressure just there by clipping sort of down here first. So just kind of go in that order, 1, 2 and then 3, because this is quite a spindly little pipe and that's quite easy to bend and snap. Lastly, we are just going to very quickly talk about this kind of set of legs here. We are connected up here at the waist, where it will be covered by the rest of the torso, and we're connected twice on the underside of the foot, for lack of a better word. Then we have this one right here that is actually in the coat itself on the outward facing part, and there's a rather tasty mold line going across that as well, so we want to be careful with that. Just get that smoothed down. Obviously not on sprue like I'm doing. I don't know why I keep doing that in these videos, but I keep doing it, so, you know, clearly something is working. Okay, it's packed with detail. It's pretty cool sprue. There's lots of kind of just be mindful of though on that one, so we'll pop that one to one side and we'll have a look at the other one. Here it is. This one's even more congested. Look at how many components there are on that one. My goodness me. Okay, so over here, we'll start this way round. We have some weird gap there, just around the middle of the sprue. That's a bit strange to see. Don't know why. My eyes have drawn to that. Well, we have the Lord Commissar's body here. We're connected here on the end of his belt. Is it a belt? Yeah, that is a belt. It's not a sash with some frills at the end, or a scarf, as they often look like. So right there on the end of the belt, we're connected once, and once in the actual coat itself, and once here at the armpit where it will be covered by the other half. This body is pretty much in half, so you might want to be kind of conscious of maybe there being a gap between this part, and I'm assuming it's this part that goes with that, kind of sticks into the back. Because there is a kind of, because it's not like a rounded greatcoat, it's not been kind of constructed in that way, or it's not two halves. If this is a leg and this is a leg, they're not going together like this, it's going like this into the halves of the coat. You might have a gap that comes right down the side of each of your Lord Commissar. You want to be careful of that. Just press them together and smooth it with your knife or mold line remover at the same time, and it should account for the gap, and then you can use a bit of glue just to fill it in, obviously when you're building, but just bear that in mind, that there is a possibility of some gappage going on there. We have a really cool power fist and a really cool power sword. I don't know which one I'm going to do, but this is my first Krieg Command Squad, and there might be a second in the future. I'll have to see if I get my second section together. We have the holstered power sword, which looks awesome. That's not kind of connected on the kind of cutting edge around here, and the actual unsheathed power sword for our veteran guardsman officer, that's not connected on the cutting edge of the power blade either. Same goes for this chainsword, but you know, that would be really shocking if there was a connection point in the teeth of the chainsword. Haven't seen that for a very long time. And then we have things like the power plasma pistol, pistol of power, the plasma pistol here and here. They're very similar plasma pistols, so you just want to kind of make sure that you're just check which one you're supposed to use. I suspect this one, component 14, is for the Lord Commissar, and this one up here is for the veteran guardsman. But because they are pretty much the same pistol and it looks the same, it might be that there is a sort of peg lock on one of them, so it only goes with certain arm. Doesn't look like it though, so you might escape that if you just clip the wrong one off and use that on the wrong model. That should be fine. Yeah, we have the pointing arm here at the Commissar, where we're connected right there on the coat again. Same for this back of the body as well. We didn't quite touch on it. We're connected twice on the outward facing parts of the coat. We're just going to be pointing this out because when it's connected in such a way that you've got all these outward facing areas rather than like on the underside of the boot and on the top of the coat there, this is your smooth flat detail that's outward facing. Everyone can see it, so you want to be careful with it. But because it's right up against the seam, if you kind of take too much off on one part, you'll then have to try and replicate it on the other part, because otherwise you'll get a really noticeable gap where one is consistently smaller than the other. So just watch out for it. Like I said, push them together and then smooth it out that way, rather than trying to do each piece individually, because otherwise you might run into those problems. We have another body over here where we're connected on the underside of the foot, and here on the torso as well on a, well, it's a piece of armor there, so that's okay. And then like up here on the neck joint where we're going to actually glue a head on, presumably this one or another one. There is another one somewhere, I just haven't spotted it. That's the Commissar's head, so yes, I think it is this one. Where we're connected on the underside, no, we're on the cheek again of the gas mask. This one is also on the cheek of the gas mask, which is a bit of a shame. Let's see, let's go on the hunt for Red October. Now here we go. We have another connection point on the side of the helmet. So this is a little bit, this is going to be tricky for the heads, because these are very prominent details of a miniature. It's one of the places that your eye is always drawn to immediately. So when it's on the side there, you just need to be really careful, because otherwise you will spot it from a mile away. It's just one of those things. This one though, we are connected on the top of the headphones, so that's all good. Right, we've got the other half of the sprue. We've already kind of touched on most of this, and it should be fairly similar to what we've already talked about. In fact, we do have a body here where we have the kind of slightly different thing in that we're connected in the armpits here and here, and then on the underside of the coat, so that's perfect. But then here we're connected on the outside of outward facing part of the greatcoat, and same goes for this part as well, where we're connected on the underside of the boot, and then this is in the join actually, so it's not the same. This is good because it's right there in the join. It just means it'll be covered up, so it's nice and easy to smooth out. Mold lines look a little bit better on this half of the sprue, so it might just be that slightly smaller one that has got a bit of a mold line, stronger mold line issue. Yeah, like the plasma gun here, it's looking pretty good nick, as does the melter gun down there. So that's cool, I like it. The special weapon though is actually component locked, as you can see. It's got a little kind of groove in it just there. So that's going to be hand locked to this one, component 48 down here. You can probably use this and move it into one of your veteran guardsman squads, your Death Corps of Krieg infantry squads, if you need access to extra plasma guns. So it's actually not that bad. It's a good source of extra guns and bits, just in case you've got spare arms and things, which you should have, because, you know, you're in the guard now, son. We have things like the kind of communications gear up here. We're connected kind of up here, where you normally expect to see that on this sort of thing, just on the top of the ring. But yeah, overall, it's a interesting sprue. There is quite a sort of technical aspect to it when it comes to like the heads and things, and we do need to be really careful with our pressure with our knife or mold line remover, because of the kind of placement of the connection points to the sprue, especially on those bodies. But as we often say around here, the proof is in the pudding. We should wait and see how long it takes to build the command squad, and we shall do the whole thing in the time lapse, because it's not as simple as one miniature each. So our command squad is all built, as you can see. It looks so good. It's so good. There's a lot of really nice character to that set in particular. Here we go. The officer and the banner. Oh, it's so heroic. I love it. Right, we have one more kit. One more kit to go through, and that is the Krieg Heavy Weapons Squad. Here it is. So I want a couple of these for my personal army, because I really want to build some of the heavy stubbers, but I also want to build the heavy flamers, and we're probably going to build the heavy flamers on this particular set because, well, I mean, they just look badass, but so do the heavy stubbers. They look amazing. Look at them. They're gorgeous. Anyway, let's get it open and let's see what else is in there as a treat for us, because I'm sure there are more treats. You get 4 models in the box. I kept thinking it was 3 for ages, but it is 4, because you get the spotter and you get the 3 guns themselves. So it's not like the Cadian heavy weapons where there's 2 crew per model. It's 1 person and then the spotter. Here we go. Seems to be everything. Right, what do we get? We get a sprue. Funnily enough, we get another sprue. Oh my god, look at that. That is a sprue. I mean, yeah, but wow, look at those heavy flamers. Okay, I'm sold. The stubbers are great, but those flamers, man. Oh my. Okay. We get one of them. 25mm base. And I get a smashed base. Look at that. Wow. Okay. I need to see what the size of those are and see if I've got a replacement, because that's pretty bad. Look at that. Can that be repaired? Just by bending it down. I mean, look, it looks like it's been scraped across and flattened by, well, it looks like it's been flattened by a forklift or something. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Well, there you go. Try and... no, there's no saving that. It's just about okay, but it looks really ugly. So, damn. What a shame. Anyway, we have our instruction manual here, and we have another one of those transfer sheets. So let's go in and find out what the size of those bases are, shall we? Let's move that out of the way. Hopefully I've got to change a different one. So the base is a 50mm round base. I'm almost certain I don't have a spare one of those. Well, we'll find out, I guess, in due time. Anyway, here it is. So the fire coordinator, spotter, is what I was calling it. It's called a fire coordinator. He is as he comes, apart from he can either be resting on his leg or holding a piece of paper. Resting on the leg's pretty cool. Just really getting into that phone call he's making. We then have the heavy weapons gunners. They are built as you see, and then we have the actual carriages themselves. They have some interchangeable parts, but there's only one of each of those, 23, 24 and 25, so they go on the front of the gun. And then we have our optional backpacks again, but there's only one of those, so you swap them in between each one. Got a couple of little optional pieces as well, like in that spade and those magazines there as well. 32, 41 and 50 over here for the las cannon, and there should be the flamer. Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Oh no, we're fine. There's the pink track for the flamer. Now you should have a specific backpack for the flamer, and I'm not sure if you get 3 of them. It doesn't look like it. There's one there, 51, but I'm not sure. According to this down here, that's a las cannon, and that's a heavy stubber. Of course it is. The instruction manual's torn as well, so maybe there's 3 51s in here. Let's have a look, shall we? See if we can spot them on the sprues. There is not, but they're labelled something different. Here you go, 33, 42. That's just me not reading properly, as per usual. Anyway, okay, so not a huge amount of customizability, but we do have 3 different guns in there, so that's what we've come to expect, I guess. So let's have a quick look at this sprue then, shall we? So we have all of our guns here, not all of them. We have all of our heavy stubbers and our heavy flamers, so the las cannons will be on the other one. And as mentioned, look, so you've got 51, 33 and 42 there. Those are 3 flamer backpacks. We have our other backpacks here, here and here as well, and there's another one there. That's probably for the spotter, fire coordinator I should say. And now the bodies are kind of what we've come to expect so far from the Krieg, both the engineers and the kill team themselves, and of course the command squad too. We're connected like on the underside of knees and on the underside of boots and stuff like that, so it's kind of a case of, it looks to me like if you've got your knee in the dirt, you'll be connected underneath there, which is fine, but if you've got your knee up, you'll be connected right on top of the knee. There is no escaping a connection point on the knee. Essentially, like we've talked about before, if this is the knee like that, when you're cleaning it, you want to go across the knee like this rather than going like that, because you'll end up smoothing it off and it'll be really noticeable, especially on a frontward facing, outward pointing detail like a knee that is on a knelt down person. We have some pretty spindly little wires up here with some extra sprue stuff on there, so that needs to come off actually, so bear that in mind. But you should probably cut these here at the kind of thinner end before doing that, because you don't want to put any kind of stress on this component, because that is going to be quite spindly, quite brittle I should imagine, or at least bendy in some way, shape or form. The guns, we're not connected on the end of the barrels, which is nice, and these seem to be mostly intact other than part of a heat shield that should go on there, which I'm not actually seeing on here at the moment. And there will be a missing back part of the assembly, so there should be a second part to that, probably on the other sprue, that actually makes it so it kind of goes together. The 2 heavy stubbers will just glue together, so that's fairly simple, right? But there we go. Same for the, we've actually got another one of those kind of wires for the heavy flamers over here, so just watch out for that one. We have a head over here, and I think that might be the only one on this sprue. We've got the same problem that the command squad had, and that we're connected on the side of the helmet. So you just, again, like we said on that one, just watch out for it, because it can be a little bit of an issue if you kind of come down at it this way. You want to come at it that way, from bottom up rather than top down. So that makes sense. Okay, it's an interesting sprue. Oh no, we've got 2 more heads here, and it's the same deal, connected on the side of the head. So there you go. Oh, we've got another head there as well. Okay, I just clearly wasn't paying attention properly there. So all of the heads are exactly the same, connected in the same way. So at least once you've done one, you're trained on how to do the rest of them. So that kind of makes sense to me. We do have these other bits as well. We have the kind of the shovel in the dirt, that kind of thing, over here as well. So just watch out for that. It's really reasonably simple, but you will want to clip this at the handle there rather than here first, because you will put stress on that. It doesn't look like it's going to bend, but it will if you put too much stress on it. Okay, that's sprue number 1. Sprue number 2 is over here. This is where you got all of our gun stuff, really. This is where the carriages and things. So 1, 2, and 3 of these are. We have those heat shields for the heavy flamers. Presumably the rest of the heavy flamer assembly is here as well. That would make sense to me, or it's this one. So something of these is one of the things that we need. There, 1, 2, and 3. Wondering why there wasn't a third piece of that. So there you go. We have the las cannon. Those look like las cannon batteries to me. That one, and that one. We have the other part of the las cannon barrel. So the barrel is in half, just like the heat shield on the heavy flamers. The wheels were connected around the outside. Carriages were connected around the outside. Although nicely, we're not actually connected on the legs here or here. Here, or here, or here, which is really cool. It's just on the kind of smooth edges. So for example, that bit there, and there, which is where the wheels are going to go anyway. But that's really cool. We also don't have like spikes or anything on the wheels, so they should glue down nice and flat to the bases. So that's pretty cool. Overall, it's quite a simple kit, isn't it? We have the blast shields as well, just 2 pieces, presumably, that just stick into either side of your gun. For example, maybe there, by the looks of things. There's a little peg. You can see that one there. That's supposed to guide you into the right place, so it should hold it nice and kind of straight on, basically. They are curved, kind of like the guns in the middle. They're kind of like that. So just watch out for that, because you don't want them to be straight on with the gun in the middle. They are curved just ever so slightly like that. So just do those one at a time, I would suggest, just so you kind of make sure you got the right side. It shouldn't be a problem, because look, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. These 3 have all got the Aquila on it, and these 3 don't. So it should be fairly easy to figure that out. But it's just a case of from that side, they do look a little bit like, well, they look exactly the same as those ones up the top. So that's going to be one of those ones where it's probably quite easy to accidentally glue the wrong one in if you're not paying attention, so just watch out for that. Okay, so aside from a mashed base, and I now need to go on the hunt for a 50mm round base to see if I can use that instead of this one. But that is a shame. Well, let's see how long it takes to put these together, shall we? I don't want to have to use that. It looks horrid. Ugh. So as always, is the big question on everybody's lips, did I manage to paint the entire lot? Yes. Yes, I did. First up, we have the heavy weapons squad. I did build them with all 3 flamers in the end, and I was able to source a proper base instead of that broken one. So that was okay. I'm okay. You might not be though, so, you know, just check it out. Next up, we of course have the Krieg Command Squad, and well, this was an absolute journey to go on, because there's so much different stuff going on here. But for now, just bask in the glory of this incredibly special set of miniatures. I think they look absolutely fantastic. The banner's a particular highlight for me. It just needs some decals. Yes. Yes, it's only 2 units to do, but the command squad's no mean feat. There's a lot going on there. But all that's left now is 10 Kassakin, a Baneblade, a Primaris Psyker, a Tech Priest Engine Seer, and a Rogel Dawn, and 10 more Krieg. That's all I've got remaining. Oh, and some stuff I need to buy. I'm going to pick up another artillery piece, I think. But that, my friends, will lead us to having a 2,000 point army of Def Corps of Krieg, and we'll be pretty close on Cadians as well. So I'm very pleased, and Militarum Mondays might soon become a thing of the past if we get through all of that. So yeah, it's been a very, very fun week for me, or couple of months. So what do we think of these sprues? Well, they're okay. They're not the best sprues I've ever seen in my life. They're also not the worst. I think we say that a lot about these slightly more modern kits. There's generally things that I look for as to whether or not it's going to be a decent build experience, and some of it's there and some of it's not. And we are still yet to find a kit that doesn't have anything that is irritating to sit and clean up. But on the whole, the command squad, it's okay. The heavy weapon squad, it's okay. I think there's sufficient amount of different weapons for the Krieg heavy weapon squad that makes it feel different to the Cadians one. But then at the same time, if you are all Krieg, you are missing out on certain ones that the Cadians get, like the mortar, for example, and the missile launcher, and the heavy bolter. But you do get heavy flamers and you get heavy stubbers. So that's pretty cool. The heavy flamers in particular, I think, are a really good option here. Tactics, you see. Tactics. I also like generally that it's just one guy and a gun per base. I don't know why that's the thing to kind of point out at this point, because the Cadians, it's 2 guys per base. But these do feel a lot less cramped, which is nice. It gives the weapon more space to shine, I think. But generally, putting them together was okay. It was fine. They're heavy weapons. It is what it is. The thing I think that surprises me, and the criticism I would have generally of the command squad, is that there's just not enough different flavour in there. There's a couple of bits here and there, but ultimately there's just, it kind of feels a little bit thin on the ground. And what I kind of mean by that is that, like, it's a very characterful unit and it's very, very cool. Do you want multiple of these? Because they are pretty much going to look exactly the same. So you're going to have to be a little bit more talented with your building, which I am not, if you want to have lots of variation across your Krieg force. And I think Krieg have got such a kind of unique silhouette. They look very different to Cadians. And I think if you just start throwing Cadians into Krieg armies, you will notice, even if you start sort of painting them the same, I think is what I would kind of say about that. So I just think a little bit more customization in kit for those of us who are not the most talented of builders would have been really nice. I think that's what it's missing. And they generally went together okay. The banner was a little bit finicky. The arm holding the flag, it felt like it was allergic to glue at points. I mean that in the sense that it's actually quite easy to glue the arm holding the flag to the body and then realize that the kind of base of the flag is like, you know, half a centimeter, a couple of millimeters below where the feet are. If you do that, obviously it'll stand like that on the base. It won't stick down. So it was quite easy to do that, and it was very mobile as I was doing this. So that was a bit of a frustrating thing because it was just kind of awkward. And I think things like the placement of the connection point on the side of the helmet, it does make for quite an awkward cleanup job, and you're not always going to get it 100% correct, which is fine because it can look a bit like some battle damage, I suppose. But it's just little things here and there that make the kits quite fiddly to put together, which, given as you might have 3 of them, let's say, or heavy weapon squads, you might have 3 of them, and indeed Krieg themselves, you might have, you know, upwards of, 120 of them is the maximum you can have. And they're all fine in certain respects, but because they are detailed and they're dynamic and they're cool and there's lots of different weapon options on particularly things like the infantry and all this sort of thing, as a range they feel a little bit too much involved in the build for huge scale versions of this. But at least it's better than Forge World. And I think ultimately the criticism I have generally of Krieg as a range, now that we have all of it, is just that we don't have any non-named generic solo characters, which is a bit of a shame. The Cadians got the Castellan and the Command Squad, and they got Ursula Creed and all that, but at its kind of core, there's the Command Squad and there's the Castellan, and, well, here you get the Command Squad and Lord Marshal Dreer. So if you want to have multiple leaders for your large bricks of Death Corps of Krieg, that's the name, you just kind of, the only option you have is the Krieg Command Squad. I will be adding a Primaris Psyker to mine. I've not done any work to it, I've just put it together, but you get the point, right? It just feels like this is a really strong set of models, I think, in terms of what you've got. If you want to build an entire army of Krieg, you can almost get there. You'd probably still need some tanks and stuff, but you can almost get to like 2,000 points with 3 artillery teams, 3 heavy weapon squads. You could do 120 Krieg, but that's not something I'm prepared to do. And the engineers as well. But I just think they're lacking some command options, which would have just been nice to see. And I have mentioned it before, but I think a upgrade squad... No. Yes. Actually, yes. An upgrade squad. That would have been really cool. To put crew on things like the Basilisk, or to have crew on things like the Field Ordnance Battery, just to dress them up a little bit. But then at the same time, they wouldn't become Krieg Ordnance Batteries. It just would have been nice to be able to take any of the other units that you can possibly put in here and be able to just dress them up like, presumably, their more numerous brethren, should this be the route that you're going down. So I think generally it gets very close to the Cadians, and if you prefer these, then you'll think it blows them out of the water, and I understand that. I almost completely agree with you. I just think the Krieg stuff is fantastic. It's just missing that 5% at the end to make this entirely perfect as a range. So maybe we'll see that in the future, or maybe we'll see another regiment. If the Katachans got a similar deal, would you be happy? I think I certainly would be. And if any of the other regiments got a similar deal, I would certainly be happy with that as well. So, is it really all that bad? I don't think so. Plus, the Krieg have got their field artillery gun, which is similar to the Field Ordnance Battery, but it is different. It's a bigger siege gun, which is a really, really cool thing. And then they got their unique engineers, and they got their unique Death Riders, which, you know, they are different to the Rough Riders. So Krieg got some of its own stuff. So if we see other regiments in the future, maybe we'll see them get some of their own stuff. Stuff that we haven't seen before, which would be marvellous. So all in all, with these two kits being the way they are, they're perfectly fine. And I think I'd give them a 6.5 out of 10. I don't love building them, I also didn't hate it. And generally for the range as a whole, I think Krieg goes really high or it goes really low. Depends on you, really. I can't speak. Interesting. Either way, we've painted up a whole bunch of them, and I'm really chuffed with the army. And I've got a Baneblade and a Rogel Dawn to finish as well. A Primaris Psyker, some Kassakin as well. And we'll be done. And I'm really enjoying it. So, at the end of the day, it's been a bit of a dream come true. Anyway, this was a quick one. I hope you enjoyed this one and I hope you found it useful. Let me know your thoughts on the Death Corps of Krieg as a whole. I'm pretty pleased overall. Yeah. What a damp squib of an ending.
If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done, scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.